Hey, and we're back with another Before You Buy. Now, we're here to talk about RWBY Arrowfell, the newest thing to tide us over during this long hiatus while we wait for Volume 9. We now have our own 2D platformer created by Wayforward and published by Arc System Works. So maybe we're hopefully one step closer to our own fighting game? Maybe? Please? But anyway, first and foremost, I just want to say that I love this game. It very much plays like something from the Shantae series, where you'll be making your way through different dungeons and grabbing key items characters send you to find to progress the story, combined with that kind of silly sense of humor that Wayforward is known for. And just like Shantae, the story isn't all that deep, and not a lot of the antagonists are really fleshed out as characters, especially when it comes to their motivations. Plus, there isn't much of an epilogue to wrap things up. It's kind of just like, okay, well, you're done now. The dialogue itself is pretty straightforward, but I did really like an interaction you have with Faunus and Mantle, where she's amazed Blake is a huntress and openly a Faunus while disappearances are going on. And Blake is able to convince her to not hide who she is, tying into her own arc in the show. That and every interaction with Penny is always a treat. You know, it really does feel like you're playing through an extra episode of the show, doing missions and just saving people like you would during that montage back in Volume 7. But you play as Team RWBY just after getting the Huntress licenses, working with the Aesops and other established characters to figure out the mystery of an orb that has the ability to attract Grimm. It's pretty hard for licensed games like these to really get appeal from people who aren't already fans. They give a quick overview in the beginning, but being 7 volumes in, you probably wouldn't care too much if you're just coming in, but it's still a good platformer if that's your kind of game. It's just a fun, maybe 6 to 8 hour story to immerse you in the world that was created, and as a fan of the show, that world building is what I love the most about it. You know, we've spent time in Atlas and Mantle during Volumes 7 and 8, but here we get to look at Solitas as a whole, from the ancient ruins going back to before the Great War, to many of the settlements that exist outside of the kingdom. It's great to flesh out the world and understand how these places operate and protect themselves, especially from things like Grimm. Then on top of that, we have a number of new characters that are being introduced with this game. And following the trend with RWBY, they all have these beautiful core designs, from Team Brio to the people living in settlements, almost having this Viking or Northern Scandinavian aesthetic. It makes you wish there was just some chance we could see some of these characters in the actual show. You know, Team Bio are all mercenaries, so they always have the chance to atone, but people on the outskirts are probably dead by now, and given how the story went, well,
if you were one of my men, I would have you shot.
There's a good chance some of them are not around anymore either. Now, the combat is pretty simplistic. The last time I looked, most of the negative reviews on Steam were for this reason. However, it seemed like a majority of them just weren't familiar with the kind of games that Wayforward makes, or with Metroidvania style games in general. So just make sure you know what kind of game it is before spending your money on it, or get it on Steam so you can try it out and then get a refund if it's not your kind of game. You have one button for attacking, one for jumping, shooting, and one to use your semblance, while being able to change between the 4 goals at any given time. Like I said, if you're not used to this style of game, it can get a bit repetitive, but throughout the game you can collect skill points to put into different attributes to highlight certain aspects of characters that can make things more interesting and strategic. For example, in my playthrough I maxed out Yang's defense and self-healing to make her a tank, RWBY's attack to make her my damage dealer, and Blake's long range to make her my shooter. So that definitely made things a bit more interesting. That, along with the different variations of Grimm and enemies, kept things fresh to me. The only thing I didn't like about the combat is that shooting uses up the same energy as your health. I guess they did that so you couldn't just sit back and spam your long range, but it doesn't really make sense in universe, since that bar is supposed to be your aura, and that really wouldn't happen unless they brought back something similar to aura slashes, but I doubt that's the case. Plus, when you come back, it basically puts you on the verge of death, so it's easy to consecutively lose hearts. But some of y'all may like that as an added challenge. Just from looking around on Twitter, it seems like some people have encountered some small glitches with the game. Fortunately for me, that hasn't happened during my playthrough, but hopefully they send out a patch to fix whatever soon. And that's pretty much it. You know, I can't say enough good things about this game. it's much better than Grim Eclipse, but that's what happens when an actual game developer is in charge of its creation. I can definitely see it not being a game for everyone, and obviously fans of the show are the ones who would be getting the most enjoyment out of it, but if you're a fan of action platformers, I would easily recommend this game just for a quick way to have some fun. And for around $30, it's plain worth it to me. I would say this is a good start for games of the franchise, and would be interested if Wayforward or Arc System want to continue down this path of making more games. Anyway, those are my thoughts. If you've already got it, let me know what you think, and I'll see you in the next video.